Hello dear chess friends, I'm FIDE Master Alex Alimpic from Serbia and I welcome you to my 7th course for the Chess World, Jobava London, the modern approach. So this is opening course for white pieces. The philosophy of this course is very simple. The idea is to surprise the opponent, avoid heavy analyzed theory, and to get an active attacking game very fast. This course is different from most others because it does not focus on main lines. Instead, it shows dynamical and practical ideas that work in real games. Jobava London is named after Georgian strong grandmaster Badur Jobava, who is a creative and aggressive player. So he does not want to get quiet positions or long theoretical battles. His style is based on intuition and original thinking. And Jobava London system opening reflects this perfectly. Its main goal is to take your opponent out of comfort zone, preparation, and to force them to think from the early moves. In this course, I choose variations that follow this exact idea. Very often, we will not go for the main lines that are forced, but we will use modern, sharp, and surprising ideas to step beyond theory and reach positions where white has chances to attack and play for a win. So the Jobava London is not about playing safe game, safe chess. It is about creating problems from move 3 and also keeping the initiative and building pressure. Most of the time you will get positions where your opponent won't feel safe. That's the main point behind Jobava London. I played it myself also many times in mainly in faster time controls. However, on a club level it's also perfectly fine for classical and long games too. I know many people who play Jobava. It's definitely because it's easy to learn and it avoids heavy theory. Also, what I like about Jobava is that after d4 you can play it against both one knight f6 and one d5. Against both of these moves we will follow the same knight c3 and bishop to f4 pattern. So with Jobava London you avoid openings such as Nimzo Indian, which is known to be the best opening for black. We avoid the King's Indian. There is no this annoying opening, no Grünfeld, no QGD, Queen's Gambit declined, Queen's Gambit accepted. So we force black to get into our territory. Of course, black can play in similar manner to these openings, like he can still choose c6 and go for the Slav defense. However, it's different compared to mainstream theory. So in this video chapter I would like to show you the lines that I suggest in the course and why exactly these moves. So as I said, my idea and my opening suggestions here are to sidestep theory and still get attacking chances. So knight f6, knight to c3. As you can see, we are threatening to play pawn to e4. So black's reply is almost forced, d5, not allowing e2, e4. And we play bishop to f4. So this is the starting position of Jobava London. Black has many possible moves here. I cover all of them. I would like to start this introduction chapter with a move pawn to c5, which is one of the main replies. So I play this as black, pawn to c5, immediately attacking the pawn on d4 and asking white what is he going to do next. And here I suggest the move pawn to e3. There is also a move pawn to e4, which is even more popular than e3, so e4 is the most common move. However, I don't like this move. It does not fit in the spirit of Jobava London. The spirit of Jobava London is attacking chess, surprise your opponent, no long theory, and with e4 we get into forcing lines, which I don't think is in the spirit of Jobava's playing style and this opening. Let me show you two examples. e4 looks scary, and it's similar to reversed Chigorin defense, but we are up a tempo and have the bishop on f4. However, the lines go like c takes d4, queen takes d4, knight c6, and this is all forcing, all well known. It is good option for white. You can play it as alternative, however it doesn't fit in my approach for this course. Queen b6, offering a queen trade because black is up a pawn. We want to avoid queen trade. However, with d4 black forces the queen trade, and now it's debate if these double pawns are bad or not. And theory goes till move 20 literally, and the position is equal, but it's tricky, especially in faster time controls, to play this position as black. However, I don't like this approach. Also, another move is knight takes e4, when again we get to forcing lines. I'm just showing you the example of it. Queen takes e4, g6, and theory goes till forever. And again, black is fine. It's not sharp, it's not aggressive. There are no queens on the board in both lines that I showed in e4. So we want to keep pieces on the board, get attacking chances without knowing too much theory. And that's exactly why I suggest the move e3 on move 4. Yeah, e3. So we are defending this pawn on d4, and also our threat is to play d takes c5, and that's why black takes on d4 and plays a6. Knight c6 is a mistake due to knight b5, so actually this knight on c3 also has purpose here. Oftentimes you will see in this course that this knight from c3 jumps to b5, attacking a weakness on c7. so keep that idea in mind. So that's why a6 is the main move. Also, I just want to mention that in this course I cover also sidelines, such as bishop takes g4, which is a trendy line nowadays. I have covered it in the course. I suggest the move f3. But let's still continue the main line. Just I want to show you what I mean by modern approach in Jobava. Knight c6, knight e5. We want to trade on c6 and ruin black's pawn structure. Bishop d7, and here the most popular move is bishop to e2, which is very solid, and I don't think white gets initiative here, and that's why here I suggest the move pawn to g4. So yeah, this is in true spirit of Jobava London. We want to play g5, remove the defender of d5 pawn, and just expand on the king side. We can do this because the situation in the center is fixed. There is no tension between any pawns, and we are allowed to play on the king side in a very early stage. So this is what I mean by modern approach in Jobava. Let me show you some other examples. For example, in the line 3g6, which is King's Indian Grünfeld approach, like still wants to fianchetto. Again, I propose a rare line. It gives attacking chances. It's queen to d2. Again, we are sidestepping mainstream theory. Our main plan is to play bishop h6, castle long, push the h-pawn, and immediately attack black's king. The main move here is pawn to e3. It's the mainstream theory and is heavily analyzed. Let me show you the example. The main line goes bishop g7, h4, threatening h5. Again, it's very sharp line. I agree. However, when Jobava London became popular, this has been the only try and the most popular by white players, and we want to sidestep mainstream theory. This is not new anymore. Like, black players have seen this line for hundreds of games, and this line simply lost its philosophy to surprise the opponent. This became regular playable line, so it's not a surprise anymore, and in the spirit of my course it is to again try to surprise the opponent in this opening. Knight to e5, c5, this is how the main line goes. Pawn to f3, bishop to f5, bishop to b5. Again, it's also very forcing, even though it looks like both players are making natural moves. And, excuse me, rook h1. It's double-edged position, however, it's the main line, and my goal is to surprise the opponent with something like queen d2. So let's take a look at the other options. a6 is very popular too. So black takes b5 square under control, not allowing any knight b5. So it looks like the knight on c3 is actually not doing anything. Because usually in the opening it's not a good idea to develop a piece in front of the pawn, like here, knight in front of c2 pawn. However, we will see that later we will reroute this knight to other square. It will find a better place. So e3, c5 immediately is not possible due to d takes c5, which is also covered in the course. Pawn to e6 is the main move, and here we go for pawn to g4. Aggressive play. The idea is to play g5 again. We are allowed to play like this since we have stable pawn structure. The pawn on d4 is well protected, so we can play something like this. The other move is knight f3. However, again, I don't think it fits into philosophy of this repertoire, because we get a very solid positions. Bishop d3, short castle. First of all, black is fine here. We are not posing any problems to black. He will develop comfortably without any problems. So we want to pose problems to black. We go for pawn to g4, threatening to play g5. c5 is the main move. Again, I have covered other lines such as bishop b4. It's all covered in the course. We go for knight g2. So c5, g5, knight fd7, and here I suggest the move queen to f3, which is not popular move, not at all. However, again, we want to surprise our opponent. Queen to f3, even though it's not popular, it looks very logical. We want to play queen g3 to support the kingside pawn push. Also, we have some bishop c7 ideas. I don't want to reveal too much in this introduction video. And the knight will come to f3 anyways. The main move is knight f3. However, we'll see that we are really missing the queen on g3. The queen on g3 is quite active and in supporting the kingside attack. So black gets decent counterplay here. However, with queen f3 we have good attacking chances on the king side, and also this bishop c7 idea is very important. So let me show you what do we do against other tries. For example, against c6, which is in the spirit of Slav defense, we go for pawn to e3, bishop f5, and here I suggest the move pawn to f3. Other possible move is knight to f3. It is also possible and quite tricky, although if black knows what to do, the resulting positions can be very dry. For example, after pawn to e6, knight e5, yeah, we have these threats. However, h5 is to me the best move for black. It was played by Anish Giri in the World Cup against Jospem, Jose Martinez Alcantara, simply stopping this g4 h4 pawn push when black has a solid position. So knight f3 is possible, however it can lead to dry positions. We again go for Jobava's playing style lines, pawn to f3, threatening to expand. On the king side, let me show you just sample moves g4, h4, yeah, with the idea of castling the queen side and later even pushing pawn in the center with e3, e4. So there is a lot of play. Against the move e6, which is the most popular in the database, we go for knight to b5. Again, e3 is other possible line, however, it's not in the spirit of the course. The resulting positions are rather boring. We don't want boring positions in Jobava London. Bishop b4 is a good move, and this is something like the main line c5 with knight c6 to come next, and I don't really know what this knight on g3 is doing. Bishop on f4 feels also bad since it has no square to go back, no room for this bishop, and here I think even black is slightly better. That's why we play knight b5 instead, attacking the pawn on c7, knight a6. Also in the course bishop d6 is covered, bishop to b4 check is covered, where I also suggest less known paths. Knight a6 is however the main move, pawn to e3, bishop to e7, knight f3, short castle, and here I want to show important moment. Bishop e2 used to be the main move with the idea to play something similar to the London system. However, the knight on a6 is misplaced. I think black is comfortable here. He has no problems in this position whatsoever and can follow up with natural moves like rook c8, queen a5, and we don't pose any problems to black here. And that's why pawn to h4 move became the most common actually. Again, we are threatening to play pawn to h5 and even pawn to h6, knight e5, and attack opponent's king, which is truly in Jobava's style. Also, I think I missed the move bishop to f5. This is also in the spirit of the Slav. However, black delays the move pawn to c6, which I actually think is quite smart. Let me show you why. We play pawn to e3, pawn to e6. Here, knight f3 again is also possible. However, positions are very drawish, especially after h5, stopping this annoying g4. F3 here is dubious. Let me show you why. So f3, we played this move in case of pawn to c6 line on the third move. However, here it's not good. The exact reason is this little pawn move, because in the future black will be able to play c7, c5 pawn strike in one move and not in two moves. And it's a huge difference, because black will very quickly get his chances on the queen side and in the center. For example, bishop e7, we can try to play in the same style as in Nc3 c6 line. However, after knight fd7, bishop d3 short castle is very good. And after this capture, Yes, black has doubled pawns on g6 and g7, however, the f file is open now, and after c5, black has annoying threats such as knight c6, queen b6. Yeah, we really see that the bishop on f4 is misplaced, b2 is weak, pawn on d4 too, and here white collapses. That's why instead of f3, here I try to take advantage of black's bishop being on f5. How can I do that? Well, we can play bishop to d3. So this move maybe seems harmless, like we are trading pieces, you know, but actually after bishop takes d3, I suggest c takes d3. You know, creating imbalances, again trying to go for dynamic positions whenever possible. Not queen takes d3, which is boring after c6, very dry. Draw is very likely. The game is very likely to be drawn here. However, cd3, creating imbalances, making this b3 square possible for our queen. When we have easy play, we'll see more details in the chapter 3 bishop f5. And against bishop g6, I suggest the move pawn to h4. So again, trying to take advantage of the bishop being on g6. Knight f3 is alternative move. After bishop d6, knight e5. However, I don't want to go to these type of positions. We want to go aggressive with h4. And the sample line, for example, is like this when we are threatening h6, and I prefer white here. White is slightly better. We will castle long, push the pawn in the center with e4 at the right moment when white is slightly better. So I hope that you understand the philosophy behind this course. We always, whenever we can, we try to sidestep the mainstream theory, go for the most dynamical lines whenever possible. And I think that's truly the Jobava's idea, his thought when he came up to the Jobava-London system. So in the next chapter we will start with the main line, pawn to e6, and I wish you good luck with learning the Jobava-London. See you in the next video.